Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. I hope you guys are staying well. I hope you guys are keeping safe. Guys, let's get straight into this. So guys, you know what? This Canelo Charlo situation caught fire. It caught fire. And now the smoke. By the way, before I get into this video, I'm just going to let you know, tomorrow I want to record. I hopefully will record with my brother. And we'll get a Khan Brook video out. There's a lot of stuff going on. Both guys have said quite a few things which if is, you know, a bit interesting. So I'm going to definitely get a video out about that. Because it's just funny, the things that are being said right now. Here's the thing about Canelo Charlo. It looks like this caught fire and there is something there. But from the response I'm getting online, it's like Canelo will destroy Charlo. This ain't a fight. This is a boring fight. Canelo's going to wipe him out. Canelo's going to do this, that, and the other. I don't know if fans are that... I don't know whether... A lot of fans think this is a mismatch. A lot of fans think that this isn't... this is a foregone conclusion, that Canelo will go in there and wipe Charlo out. But I'm not so sure, you know. I'm not so sure. I think Canelo will win, but I don't think this is a total mismatch. I think this is a great fight. You see, Canelo's so great at this point in his career that literally no matter who he goes in with, he's a favorite. And he's a big favorite. Look, the only fight that I think where Canelo might be seen as an underdog, and it's still a big might, where I don't think he'll be the bookies' underdog, but he may be seen as an underdog by a lot of boxing fans, is Arthur Beterbiev. So unless he fights anyone else from 175 to 160 with the name Arthur Beterbiev, Canelo is not going to be a 50-50 fight. It's not going to be a fight where Canelo is going to be seen as a guy that might, seen as somebody that may lose, seen that he may lose the fight. Because Canelo right now is so above and beyond all the guys at 160, 168, especially that you can't really make a case for anybody beating him. The only way it'd be a colossal upset. If Charlo beats Canelo, it'd be a colossal upset. Even though it shouldn't be, because Charlo is a very good fighter. It's just that Canelo is so above all these guys. But Charlo does have a good, Charlo does have not an easy style. Like, he's got a very good jab. Canelo is shorter, you know. Charlo has got a very good jab. He's very strong. He can punch. And yeah, Charlo's performances of late haven't been good. You know, the Korobov performance weren't great. You know, the what's his name? The guy, the Montiel performance wasn't that good. But remember, he's fighting Canelo. When you're fighting Canelo, you're going to raise your game. You know, Charlo isn't going to be the same Charlo that fought Montiel. He's going to raise his game. He's not going to, like, I hate it when people do this. Oh, well, look at his performance. And I'm one that does this. I'm also guilty of this. You guys are guilty of this. Oh, well, he fought Montiel and he looked terrible against Montiel. But when you're fighting Canelo, you're not going to be off your game. You're going to be the best. I tell you why you're going to be the best. You possibly could be, because you're fighting for a huge payday in front of a big audience. You don't want to be humiliated in front of, you know, so many people. Ultimately, the guy with the better skills and the more talent will come through. But the point I'm trying to make is this. Charlo will be the best version Charlo's ever been against Canelo. Look at Billy Joe. I knew Billy Joe won't beat Canelo. And look at Billy Joe, looked terrible in his fights previously to Canelo. But he still gave in a good account of himself. In that fight, he was still the best he could have been for that particular fight. Hence why Charlo, for me, like, Atlas is right. For me, Charlo is more talented, is more better than Billy Joe. And like Caleb Plant, even though stylistically, those guys might cause him trouble. But for Canelo, for me, he's a harder, more talented guy for Canelo. I think stylistically, those guys, man, they ain't got no power. They're not physically that strong. Canelo was just going to bully them in the end. But this is different. This style is different because Charlo's no GGG. Let's get that out there. He's no GGG. But he has a kind of similar style where he's physically strong, right? He's probably bigger than GGG in terms of his muscular physique, and he's a big guy, right? He's got a great jab. He's got power, right? So Charlo is, and you know what? Charlo has something about him. Whether we like it or not, and whether you guys can see it or not, Charlo has something about him. He has something about him. Like, he may not be the greatest, most talented boxer, but he has something about him. He has a lot of heart as well. I see that in his fights against Montiel. These Charlos, they don't just talk. They've got heart, and that's why I like them. It's just that the lack of opposition for this Jermall. I think Jermall is excellent. Jermall he's a monster. And I know people say, but he lost to Castano, but he's for me, he got outboxed against Harrison, and he came back with fire and battered and ended up stopping Harrison. That guy, he's dangerous fighter, Jermall Charlo. And Jermall they're cut from the same cloth. They're both very good. It's just that Jermall's level of opposition has been very poor. Very, very poor. So it's kind of difficult to give these guys, or give Jermall a lot of credit, because Jermall's been fighting what we would call lower level opposition. He's been fighting very poor opposition. So we can't really see how good he really is against. Now, Derevyanchenko, now Canelo's not Derevyanchenko, we know that. But Derevyanchenko, that was a great performance by Jermall. You know, when I saw Jermall fight Derevyanchenko, I was like, boom, we've got a star on our hands. This guy is going to take off now. He's going to go on to another level. Because that was some performance. If you remember, that they both fought on the same night. Jermall for Rosario, and they both performed outstanding. Jermall KO'd Rosario with a jab, and Jermall totally dominated Derevyanchenko. Now, maybe that style suited him, but I thought Jermall Charlo, he was ready to take off. He was ready to take off and show the world that, listen, Jermall is for real. And after that performance, because Derevyanchenko gave Golovkin trouble, I actually thought Derevyanchenko won that fight. And Jermall totally dominated him. I thought after that fight, you know what? He beats Triple G. He beats Triple G. There's no way Triple G is going to be able to deal with this guy's jab, strength, physicality. He's got a good chin. But since then, his performances have sloped. I'll tell you why. Because when you're fighting these type of guys, Montiel, it's hard to get up. Jermall Charlo is now in a place where he needs the big occasion. He needs the big fights. He needs that to show how good he is. He needs those big occasions, guys. It's not that he's overrated. He's not overrated. He's a good fighter. Hence why, look, Derevyanchenko's a top fighter. A very good fighter. Anyone that gives Golovkin that kind of trouble isn't a poor fighter. And he totally dominated. He shut him out. I'm telling you guys, Derevyanchenko, I'm telling you guys, I don't say this about people. You guys know my style. I keep it real. Jermall Charlo can fight. He can fight. He just needs that big occasion. That doesn't mean that if he gets a big occasion against Canelo that he'll beat him, but he'll rise to that occasion. Jermall Charlo is a fight, like, people saying that he's a no contest. Like, you're taking away from Canelo. You're taking away from Canelo. If Canelo beats him, you're taking away from Canelo's victory. If Canelo wins, and by the way, it's no foregone conclusion. It's boxing. How do you know Jermall Charlo, he just basically gets Canelo behind that jab and makes a nightmare for Canelo? How do you know? It's boxing. Jermall Charlo's a good fighter. He's not a low-level guy. He's a good fighter. Like I said, anybody that dominates Derevyanchenko like that, anybody that is not a poor fighter. Derevyanchenko gave Golovkin all sorts of trouble. Beat him. He really should have got that decision. This is what I'm trying to say to you guys, that Jermall Charlo can fight. And you may see the best of Jermall Charlo against Canelo. Whether that's going to be good enough but this isn't, for me, this is not a no contest. It's not a no contest, guys. It's a fight. It is a good fight. It's a proper fight. It's a proper fight. It's not a no contest, man. Like, it's not a no contest, man. Oh, man. It's really frustrating for me because I feel like at the same time, Canelo fans are taking away from Canelo by saying it's a no contest. And at the second time, this is a fight, man. This is not like I see people saying it's easy. So it's not easy. It's not easy. Jermall Charlo is a two-weight undefeated world champion. It's not easy. He's a good fighter. He's a very good fighter. And I agree with Teddy Atlas. This is a step up from Billy Joe. This is a step up from Caleb Plant. This is a step up from Callum Smith. Not so much like he's so technically so proficient than all those guys and so much more gifted. No, it's what I see in here. It's what I see in Jermall Charlo's inside that makes him special. That makes him a winner. That, for me, he's got a bit more than those guys. Like Billy Joe and Callum Smith. Callum Smith may have had more tools to beat Canelo than Billy Joe, but Billy Joe had something else. He had that, he had that confidence, that class that he uses. He has more confidence when you hear him speak. You know that Billy Joe's going in there. He's not going in there to lie down. And Charlo's kind of cut from the same cloth, but I actually think Charlo's style may be more problematic for Canelo. Billy Joe, yeah, he could box, but he has no power. He has no snap. Charlo has power. Charlo has power. He's physically big and strong. I would love to see if Canelo, like some people think Canelo's going to bully him. I don't know about that. That's why I'm treating. There are attributes that Jermall Charlo has that could cause Canelo trouble, but it's how Jermall Charlo applies those attributes in the fight. I've always liked Charlo. I've always liked both Charlos. But the problem is, the thing is with the Charlos is that, I keep saying the Charlos, Jermall is proving himself. I don't care whether some people thought he lost to Castano, but Jermall is proving himself because he's fighting the best in his division. Right? Jermall, on the other hand, isn't. People have said that he's ducked Golovkin. People have said that he's ducked, what's his name? He's not interested in fighting Golovkin. I think he is interested in fighting Golovkin. But Jermall Charlo needs the big fight. He needs the occasion to step up to show us. Look, maybe Jermall Charlo goes and gets knocked out in 4 or 5 rounds. Or maybe Jermall Charlo steps up and shocks people. Maybe Jermall Charlo puts in a performance like Cotto did against Canelo. Really strong, back and forth, action. It's very, very interesting. But guys, this isn't a foregone conclusion. Boxing never is. When Canelo's fighting at the level that he's fighting at, when you think of Canelo's resume, like Callum Smith, Billy Joe, if Caleb Plant, then Charlo. And then if he fights Benavidez, oh my God, that is a ridiculous resume. That's a ridiculous resume. Stop trying to take away from Canelo by saying Charlo's an easy fight. It's not an easy fight. It's no fights easy. Even the Billy Joe Plant, these weren't easy fights. Canelo had to work in those fights. He had to work in Yildirim was an easy fight. Yildirim was a cherry pick. Yes, that wasn't a fight. But these undefeated world champions are not easy fights. These are hard fights. Charlo's a tough guy. He's a very, very good fighter. If Canelo makes easy work of him, that shows Canelo's greatness. Not because you put Charlo in with anyone prior to, other than Canelo, it's a 50-50 fight. You put Charlo in with Benavidez. You put Charlo in with Andrade. You put Charlo in with, even Golovkin at this point. It's a hard fight. So why are we saying that this is a foregone conclusion? Why are we saying that he hasn't? Come on, let's be real. This is a tough fight. This is not an easy fight. I'm telling you guys, you need to stop sleeping on the guys that Canelo's fighting, because one day someone's going to step up and put in a performance of their life, and who knows, maybe shock the world. Lara almost did it. Golovkin wouldn't be shocking the world because Golovkin was like a 50-50 fight. That was a tough fight for Canelo. But that was a fight, a very tough fight. But that was seen as 50-50. Beterbiev could be the next one. But again, don't sleep on Charlo. It's a good fight. It's not a no contest. It's not easy. It's a good fight. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.